NATO leaders are expected to formulate a firm message for Biden to take to Geneva on Wednesday, where he will meet President Vladimir Putin. Let's bring in our SABC International news editor, Sophie Mokoena, for more on this. A very good morning to you, Sophie. The G7 just concluded, and now U.S. President Joe Biden going to meet NATO leaders. What's on the agenda here?
Clearly, he is going to engage with NATO. You know that during President Donald Trump's administration, the relationship was not good, and there's hope that the relationship within NATO is going to improve. President Donald Trump then had decided to cut funding to NATO, and we expect Joe Biden to indicate that they will continue to be the main country who is giving NATO resources and money to ensure that NATO is able to do its work. He is also expected to meet the European Union. The European Union, the relations also there, they will try to talk about how they strengthen the relations going forward. It will be more on trade and investment, issues of tariffs, and perhaps how United States of America is willing to continue to work with European countries.
We had seen Donald Trump, former president of the U.S., slash their contributions to NATO by 16%. Do we expect an announcement in terms of reversing this?
I expect President Biden to make an announcement how he is going to reverse this decision. You are aware that when he rejoined the World Health Organization, at that time, Donald Trump had taken a decision not to fund the WHO. He immediately signed an executive order the same day he was sworn into office to rejoin the WHO and the climate change discussions, and he was able to announce that he is going to make money available for WHO. He was going to pay all outstanding fees. That speaks to how he is trying to reassert his authority at international level, also in these multilateral organizations and institutions. I expect him to announce a quite good sum of money in terms of support for NATO.
The other conversation that comes up with this NATO meeting is that upcoming meeting between Joe Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday, with concerns of Russia building up its military presence in other areas, and that weekend media interview of Vladimir Putin with another news broadcaster, where he says U.S. and Russia the relationship has deteriorated to its lowest point in recent years. How will NATO handle this?
Clearly, President Biden made an announcement when he left the United States of America that he will definitely meet President Putin. The intention is to emphasize the approach to the relations between the two countries, with the hope that they will improve, not really improve, because for some time now, Russia and U.S., if I may say, has been engaged in almost like a Cold War. Therefore, I can't see the relations changing immediately. I am not even expecting positive outcomes. I think the two are going to tell each other where to get off. That's my suspicion, that this is my position as the United States of America. You do this or we will fight you, not military. I'm just saying the relations will continue to be at an all-time low. I suspect President Vladimir Putin is going to do the same. When you listen to that interview with NBC, he was clear that he was sending a message already that this is what I am going to say. In other words, I have no hope for better relations, neither better engagement, because President Biden is a different person. He's a shrewd politician, he's a military man, and therefore it's going to be a hard one. But with Trump, it was much easier, because Trump was just, an entertainer, almost semi-comedian. No, I mean, that is why Putin used to tell him whatever he wants to tell him. It was so easy. And administration of Donald Trump was very different. Donald Trump, a business person who has engaged with these other people, so he wasn't very, very firm against Russia. I think Biden is going to say to Russia, we are going to be firm. But that doesn't help, because many people are saying to have these tensions between these superpowers doesn't help the situation either. You'd recall when I spoke to the ambassador of Russia in South Africa when they were celebrating one of the holidays, the role they played during the Second World War. He indicated that no one wants Third World War. But when you look at the war talk around the world, there's fear that you will tamper with peace and stability around the world. I think it is going to be a meeting. It's more of a photo op, but nothing will come out.
Already Joe Biden getting good reviews from the G7 meeting, with him finishing up saying America is back at the table. Do we expect him to have similar success with his meetings at NATO?
Yes, exactly. He's going to say America is back. America is a full member of NATO. America is going to continue to lead the developments, discussions, actions within NATO. And I am not going to do it just by talking. I will put resource, I will put money into what I'm talking about. I think that is why when you look at the body language of the Secretary of NATO yesterday, he was very, very upbeat. Very happy like a little kid, because he knew that Biden is going to support NATO. He had a meeting already. Immediately after President Biden was sworn into office, he flew to Washington to meet President Biden. So based on their talks at Washington, it was clear then President Biden gave him an assurance that the United States of America is going to support NATO. But for us on the continent, it's no news or, anything to benefit there. You know that it is the very same NATO that invaded Libya. Today, Libya is a failed state. So yes, good for Europe and the United States of America, but not necessarily good for the world, and particularly the continent.
Another leading news story is international story at the weekend was Israel's parliament approval of a new government ousting Netanyahu, bringing in Bennett. What can we expect to develop from this story?
Naftali Bennett is the same as Benjamin Netanyahu, I think worse. He's a strong far right-wing. So expect a strong right-wing government, and therefore I cannot say there are prospects for better discussions around the peace process in the Middle East. And I don't think Palestinians in particular will celebrate the news. Yes, perhaps in Israel, those who believe that Benjamin Netanyahu didn't deliver on his promises for the last 12 years, there's hope that Naftali Bennett will do something different. He's a multi-millionaire. He's filthy rich. Secondly, he's a former Israel military force member. So money plus military, and right-wing, you can imagine what's going to happen in Israel when you talk about the peace process in the Middle East. So there's no hope for the peace process in the Middle East.
Interesting perspectives there, but thank you so much for talking to us. SABC International News Editor Sophie Mokoena there will also be having another conversation from Brussels in the third hour of the show on this.